for in a man.
That's what I've always said, Mother.
You've never said anything of the kind, and I suspect you would never give it thought.
Don't be so suspicious of me.
At least I hope he's the type that's up and coming.
I think he really goes in for self-improvement.
What reason have you think so?
He goes to night school.
Splendid! What does he do? Study.
Radio engineering and public speaking.
Then he has visions of being advanced in the world. Any young man who studies public speaking is aiming to have an exclusive job someday. And radio engineering, a thing for the future. Both of these facts are illuminating. Those are the sort of things that a mother should know concerning any young man who comes to call on her daughter. Seriously or not?
One little warning.
Pause.
Ooh. Play!
One little warning. He doesn't know about Laura. I didn't let on that we had a dark, ulterior motives. I just said, why don't you come and have dinner with us? He said okay, and that was the whole conversation.
I bet it was. You're eloquent as an oyster. However, he'll know about Laura when he gets here. When he sees how lovely and sweet and pretty she is, he'll thank his lucky star he was asked to dinner.
Mother, you mustn't expect too much of Laura.
What do you mean?
Laura seems all those things to you and me because she's ours and we love her. We don't even know she's crippled anymore.
Don't say crippled. You know that I never allowed that word to be used.
But face facts, Mother. She is, and that's not all.
What do you mean, not all?
Laura is very different from other girls.
I think the difference is all to her advantage.
Not quite all. In the eyes of others, strangers, she's terribly shy and lives in a world of her own. And those things make her seem a little peculiar to people outside the house.
Don't say peculiar.
Face the facts, she is.
In what way is she peculiar, may I ask?
She lives in a world of her own. A world of little glass ornaments, Mother. She plays old phonograph records, and that's about all.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the movies.
Not to the movies. Every night to the movies? I don't believe you always go to the movies. Laura!
Yes, Mother.
Let those dishes go and come in front. Laura, come here and make a wish on the moon.
Moon?
A little silver slipper of a moon. Look over your left shoulder, Laura, and make a wish.
What shall I wish for, Mother?
Oh, happiness, good fortune.
Yay! Okay, and so the following evening I brought Jim home to dinner, and I had known Jim slightly in high school. In high school, Jim was a hero. He had tremendous Irish good nature and a vitality with this scrubbed and polished look of white chinaware. He seemed to move in continual spotlight. He was a star in basketball, captain of the debating club, president of the senior class in the glee club, and he sang in the male lead in the annual light operas. He was always running or bounding, never just walking. He seemed always at the point of defeating the law of gravity. He was shooting with such velocity through his adolescence that you would logically expect him to arrive at nothing short of the White House by the time he was 30. But Jim apparently ran into more interference after his graduation from Holden. His speed had definitely slowed. 6 years after he left high school, he was holding a job that wasn't much better than mine.
Oh, crap.
He was the only one at the warehouse with whom I was on friendly terms. I was valuable to him as someone he could remember in his former glory. Who had seen him win basketball games in the Silver Cup and debating. He knew my secret practice of retiring to the cabinet in the washroom to work on poems when the business was slack in the warehouse. He called me Shakespeare. And while the other boys in the warehouse regarded me with suspicious hospitality, Jim took a humorous attitude toward me. Gradually, his attitude affected the others. Their hospitality wore off, Their hostility wore off, and they also began to smile at me as people smile at an oddly fashioned dog who trots across their path at some distance. I knew that Jim and Laura had known each other at Solden, and I had heard Laura speak admiringly of his voice. I didn't know if Jim remembered her or not. In high school, Laura had been as unobtrusive as Jim had been astonishing. If he did remember Laura, it was not as my sister, for when I asked him to dinner, he grinned and said, "You know, Shakespeare, I never thought of you having folks," but he was about to discover that I did.
Why are you trembling?
Mother, you made me so nervous.
How have I made you nervous?
By all the fuss, you make it seem so important.
I don't understand you, Laura. You couldn't be satisfied with just sitting home, and yet whenever I try to arrange something for you, you seem to resist it. Now take a look at yourself. No, wait, just a moment. I have my...
What is it now? Mother, what are you doing?
They call them gay deceivers.
I won't wear them.
You will!
Why should I?
Because to be painfully honest, your chest is flat. Take them and hold on.
You make it seem like we're setting a trap.
All pretty girls are a pretty trap, and men expect them to be. Now look at yourself again, lady. This is the prettiest you'll ever be. I've got to fix myself now. You're going to be surprised by your mother's appearance. Isn't dark enough yet. I'm not going to show you something. I'm going to make a spectacular appearance.
What is it, Mother?
Possess your soul and patience. You'll see. Something I've resurrected from the old trunk. Styles haven't changed so terribly much after all. Now just look at your mother. This is the dress in which I led the cotillion. Won the cakewalk at Sunset Hill. One spring to the governor's ball in Jackson. See how I sashayed around the ballroom, Laura? I wore it on Sundays for my gentleman callers. I had it on the day I met your father. I had malaria fever that spring. The change of climate from East Tennessee to the Delta weakened resistance. I had a little temperature all the time, not enough to be serious. Just enough to make me restless and giddy. Invitations poured in, parties all over the Delta. Stay in bed, said Mother. You have a fever. But I just wouldn't. I took quinine, but kept on going. Evenings, dances, afternoons, long rides, picnics. Lovely, so lovely. That country in May, all lacy with dogwood, literally flooded with jonquils. That was the spring. I had the craze for jonquils. Jonquils became an absolute obsession. Mother said, "Honey, there's no more room for jonquils." And still I kept on bringing in more jonquils. Wherever I saw them, I'd say, "Stop, I see jonquils." I made the young man help me gather the jonquils. It was a joke. I made everything the jonquils. Finally, there were no more bases to hold them, and every available space was filled with jonquils. No bases to hold them? All right, I'll hold them myself. And then I met your father. Malaria fever and jonquils. Then this boy. I hope they get here before it starts to rain. I gave your brother a little extra change so he and Mr. O'Connor could take the service car home.
What did you say his name was?
O'Connor.
What is his first name?
I don't remember. Oh, yes, I do. It was Jim.
Not Jim!
Yes, that was it. It was Jim. I've never known a Jim that wasn't nice.
Are you sure his name was Jim O'Connor?
Yes. Why?
Is that the one that Tom used to know in high school?
He didn't say so. I think he just got to know him at the warehouse.
There was a Jim O'Connor we both knew in high school. If that is the one, then Tom is bringing dinner. You'll have to excuse me. I won't come to the table.
What sort of nonsense is this?
You asked me once if I'd ever liked a boy. Don't you remember I showed you this boy's picture?
You mean the boy you showed me in the yearbook?
Yes, that boy.
Laura, were you in love with that boy?
I don't know, Mother. All I know is I couldn't sit at the table if that's him.
It won't be him. It isn't the least bit likely, but whatever it is or not, you'll come to the table. You will not be excused.
I'll have to, Mother.
I don't intend to humor your silliness, Laura. I've had too much from you and your brother, both. So just sit down and compose yourself till they come. Tom has forgotten his key, so you'll have to let them in when they arrive.
Oh, Mother, you answer the door.
I'll be in the kitchen.
Oh, Mother, please answer the door. Don't make me do it.
I've got to fix the dressing for the salmon. Fussilness over a gentleman collar. Laura, sweetheart, the door. Laura, is that your brother and Mr. O'Connor? Will you let them in, darling? go to the door.